Well, we're using the gorgeous weather, just look at that sky, for February. We're using this to all work outside. My brothers are tunneling away under the Pigeon tower to fix some sort of electric system, and my mum is weeding and I'm weeding. So we'll get back to it. This is just the most lovely warm weather. I think it must be about 20 degrees. It feels like 25. And I've had a cold now for about 6 weeks. So when I get back indoors, I'm going to be treating myself to tea and honey. Now, I don't know what you guys think, but I've had a blocked nose now. You can hear it for about 6 weeks, and everyone I know has had a cold for several weeks on end. And I'm pretty sure things weren't like this before COVID, but that's my opinion. I think ever since we had to wear masks for several months, and since we've taken them off, I think I think wearing them did our immune system a lot of damage. And I think that's why we're just less resistant now. That's my opinion. But let's not have an argument about it.
Inside the Pigeon Tower is very messy. We have electricity and whatnot coming in from underground, and we have this huge jumble of cables, wires going all over the place. The electric box to power the horse's fence, and so the lighting is very bad here, but yeah, so I have to clean all of this up, cable it up neatly up against the wall, and that's about it. We're running a cable all the way from the Pigeon Tower down to the fence, the electric fence, and then all the way to the shed where the horses are fed and where we keep all the hay. We kind of goofed up a little bit on measuring the cables, so we're going to have to patch the cable here, add a new length of cable until that the water feeder point, the water point here, because we need to heat this in winter to prevent it freezing over, otherwise the horses have no water. So yeah, we just patched in a new length of cable here, and we're going to finish cabling all of this up today, hopefully. More news soon. So I just removed the board that's keeping all this the water system, well, unfrozen in winter. And look at this, nice surprise. Something has been eating away at the cable, so I'm guessing this is its last winter. It'll now need all replacing. This is just basically a wire that heats very mildly, just enough to keep the pipes above 0 Celsius, so just enough to prevent it freezing.
I mean, look at that sky, that's crazy. So it's the beginning of March. You might be wondering, what am I doing with a hat on? It's because of the sun. And yes, because I had a semi-malignant cancer removed from my nose last year, so I'm not taking any chances. And yes, I'm just going to use this opportunity to say, don't ever think you won't get a cancer, because I thought that too. Especially a skin cancer. I get brown very fast as soon as the first rays of sun come out in the spring, summer. I'm black. And that's probably where I got it from, huh? I'm kind of surprised there aren't more people out walking or riding or walking the dog on a beautiful day like this. Anyway, I've decided to answer a question that I've received from a couple of people watching the vlog. They asked me what my relationship is to the house and how it works and who lives there. And so I partly answered that in another video. So I'm going to elaborate a bit now. So years ago, my father gave quite a lot of thought to the question of how he was going to give us the house without it costing us an arm and a leg. And he was right. I think in a number of cases, children who inherited a big house like this, whether it's a chateau or not, if it's a big old house, then you have to pay enormous inheritance taxes. So what he said is, okay, we're going to find a solution, and this circumnavigates the problem quite well of having to pay these huge taxes. He just decided to sell the house to an SCI, that's the French acronym for Société Civile Immobilière, which is something along the lines of like a non-profit association. So it's been divided into many parts, and each of us 5 owns an equal number of these parts. So it basically belongs to us, and we just cut out the inheritance tax bit. Thank you, Daddy. I think the one consideration is just that we have to agree when we make a decision for the house. We agreed to agree, all 5 of us, otherwise things weren't done. So that's a bit of a challenge sometimes, but so far it's worked out quite well. Of course, another challenge is that we don't all live there. I don't live there, my sister doesn't live there, and one of my 3 brothers does not live there either. Whenever I am there, in fact, all my holidays I take in France, and as soon as I'm there, I start working because I really enjoy it. And for my sister, who also lives abroad, and for my elder brother, well, they just do other things than the manual jobs, I suppose. They do sorting out when they're there. They do lots of creative stuff. We all do our little bit. I mean, we're not all good at the same things, so, you know, we're quite a mixed up bunch, but that's okay. We don't all have to be good at the same things. Well, to sum it up, let's just say that we get on well enough for us not to have big arguments when we have our meetings, in such a way that we can usually decide in quite a calm way what to do first, because not everything has the same degree of urgency. And that's the main thing. It's that we have to get on with some jobs without having any big fallouts. The spring has arrived. Look, aren't these sweet little snowdrops? I love these wildflowers. They're so uplifting when they raise their heads. Little crocuses. More crocus. I often find there's quite a difference between the stages of advancement of the plants in Germany and in France, because the weather's just rather different, but this year they seem to be pretty much aligned. Here are our snowdrops, our leucojum, and some nice cyclamen. They've all expanded quite nicely over the years. Well, so much for the carnival here in Germany, because someone drove his car at full speed into the public in Mannheim, which is just, I don't know, maybe 20 kilometers from here. Most of the smaller festivities were cancelled, so the one in our town was cancelled too. It's something we're looking forward to, but never mind. So the boys are having a very small private celebration in the courtyard downstairs, and I am trying to put together my video. So we did get the opportunity to see a couple of parades, one in Mingolsheim and one in Hockenheim. And in the meantime, my mum is still hard at work in the garden. She went to quite a big plant fair, in fact, in Lisieux, just recently, where she found a few things, a few bulbs, I think, to put in the garden to complete what we already have there. So that's a few snowdrops, a couple of other little bulbs that do very well down there, because the ground is always very moist under the limes. But the drainage is still quite good, so they have plenty to eat and drink.
This is just in the public gardens. That's just one tiny section of the Foire aux Arbres, the tree fair. This is an interesting stand. She's got 2 lovely things for growing clematis up, but I don't think we could even get them in the car, unfortunately. This is the last couple of camassia which I'm going to plant here. Quite sure how deep these are supposed to be. I think that'll probably be.
He told you the top had to stick out.
What?
The top had to be just sticking out, he said.
Oh, well. Of the camassia?
I don't know. Can't remember which one you said that about.
No. Well, they'll survive anyway. As it's going to probably freeze a couple more times before there we are. Put the other one somewhere beside it. Oh, this ivy is terrible. Right, that's the last two. So today I've planted, I think, about 7 camassia. Mind where you put your feet. And a lot of bluebells, proper, not Spanish bluebells, the proper French ones. And what were the other things planted? Some, gosh, leucodium.